Okay guys, welcome back to a new chess video. Um, as you might notice, there's a little bit less background sound because I've got my mic slightly better installed. It's still not the best, you can still hear a little bit. Specifically it's bad because there's wind, but there's also the fan of my computer. So yeah, I should probably fix everything. But yeah, I have to deal with it pretty much all the time, so quite annoying. Anyway, I'm going to start analysing the game. I played on the... let me get this right. I played on the 16th of... Is it 16th? The 26th. Sorry, the 26th of January 2023. It starts with quite a simple game, but I then lose because I do some blunders. And you might see what I'm referring to in the game. I'm playing as white, and I lose. So yeah, that's pretty much the summary of the game. Let's start with the starting move, King's Pawn, and we go to Sicillian. And Knight f3, it's quite a common move. I could also do the Alapin, which is c3. I don't know the main line of this. I know it's c3, but then I don't really know how to play afterwards. I know just develop the knights properly. Probably want to develop the bishops, something like that. I know there's quite a lot of different lines for this. This is not what I'm used to. I'm used to like open Sicilian with knight f3 and knight c6 or d7. Sorry, d6, which is played in the game. Yeah. So we could probably go into some type of Najdorf or some type of dragon, possibly. Yeah, c3. So it's kind of, as you can see here, I tried to transpose into the Alapin, I think, but it's a different move order than what the standard, like the main line is. a6. I thought this was quite a weird move because it doesn't really do anything. I mean, the reason I think my opponent played it is so they can expand on the queen side, get quite a big flank pawn attack, and also be able to develop the bishop quite easily. Fianchetto, or develop the knight, something like that. Maybe just to make it, and then to just castle king side and make the king safe. That's probably why it was played. Otherwise, I don't see the reason. According to Stockfish, but this is the main move, knight f6. Yeah, this is one of the lines I'm not really familiar with, so I have to take the word of the computer because it's a lot more clever than me. I'm only 1200. So it's always good to learn new lines of different openings. H3 is main line in this case, and c6, bishop d2, bishop d3 is quite interesting. What suggests basically just pushing the bishop back to this square, and then because you don't want to leave it here because it's blocking the center pawn. That's it. It suggests this kind of structure, pawn structure. It's kind of a bit weird, I think, to be honest, because yeah, this is going to be quite difficult to push because we've got a very similar idea to the Maroczy bind, right? These two pawns are here, so that means then the other pawn can't come forward with two, otherwise you lose a pawn. Very similar idea here. Very interesting what this line says, because neither of these two pieces are developed yet, and they're going to be quite difficult to develop because of the strong centre the black has and the possibility to push the queenside pawns. Yeah, so that's, I guess, the main line. I'm not 100% sure. That's what computer recommends. A6 is played and D4 is played. Basically, yeah, open Sicilian, you can see the kind of same idea here. With just a little bit of C3 added to make some flavour. And we've take and take. And this is a little bit of a, I mean, it's an okay move. It's not the best because there's this nice diagonal for the queen. Yeah, but you can just block it. So it's kind of okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like, there's probably a better way you could play it, but this is what was played. Knight f6, yeah, very simple. And e5. Now here's a slight mistake I made. Basically, I wanted to attack the knight, and just push it out of the way and possibly make it to come to g4. Though that wouldn't actually be good for me, really, because I don't want it to develop. I wanted to get back into back into its hook. back into the corner. But yeah, this is a mistake because black can take pretty much, and then I can't take back with the pawn, otherwise I lose the queen. Yeah, so computer recommends knight c3, and then you can see a very similar structure you would have as what's like a recommended structure for the pawns, except the c pawn's gone. And we've got g6, and we can see this is again a very similar structure to another opening, the King's Indian, with d6 and g6, and then the King's Indian is when you put the bishop on g7, castle kingside. Again, but then this pawn on the c file is gone. So very. You can compare it to different openings, and you can kind of see what the difference is in the situation, in the position, and you can kind of see what ideas there are, very, very similar ideas, like with this pin, possibly. Yeah, because you want to stop the pin, and then b5 and bishop d3. Very simple idea to just push on the queen side, trying to knock this knight out of the way. Yeah, but that's what's recommended to play. e5 is played, and d takes, and then I have to take back with the knight, because if I take back with the pawn, I showed you, I get taken. My queen gets taken. I now lose castling rights, and now black has attack on this pawn, so I have to defend it, because otherwise I would lose to the fork, and then black can just develop quite easily. This pawn's now a weakness because it can't really be defended by another pawn. This bishop out here, yeah, looks quite bad. I mean, this position is what is it? -1. Oh, so it's not too bad for white. It just looks quite bad in practice. Yeah, so what was played is knight takes e5 and e6, basically wanting just to open the bishop up. This bishop now stuck, but it can rejoin the game after like b5, for instance. Then you can v-keto. Knight c3, and developing move, very simple. This pawn's not hanging because it's protected by the queen. And bishop to d6, attacking the pawn. And you can see a very similar idea. If the bishop takes and the pawn takes, then the queen can come back and take. However, this knight's now on c3, so the knight would take back and they would still be able to castle. So there is still a difference, but it's it does make a change in what can happen. f4 to protect the knight. Knight's already protected, but I thought if I protect from the other side, then I can keep the centre with the pawns. That's probably what I thought. It does make a weakness on the king side, and yeah, you can see this structure is very similar to the Maroczy bind, where you have these two pawns moved forward, and then this pawn has to come like one forward instead. So you can see it's very similar to that kind of idea, where this pawn can't come to e5 without being taken. Yeah, so yeah, f4 is a mistake. But what's been better is bishop to d3, and just you can see a very simple developing idea. This is what the computer recommends, so I'm just going to show you a couple of moves. Computer recommends getting an isolated pawn just because if you take back with the queen, it's slightly harder to defend, I believe. Yeah, you get moves like, yeah, I don't possibly, yeah. If you take back with the queen, it's because the queens can be quite easily attacked. Yeah, but that's that. I mean, this is a good position. This is plus. Oh, this is actually quite equal. This is equal. Yeah. So f4 was played a mistake, and castle kingside or short castle. G4. Again, another mistake. Bishop d3 is again better, going down that line of attack or defense or opening. And basically the idea here is basically I want to now push the pawns on the king side because this king's castled. So now pushing the pawns on the king side, making a nice attack on this pawn, these pawns. Basically just wanting to be aggressive, I think. But I think that was kind of my mistake. Because I think one thing I didn't take into account is king safety. As you can see, the king's in the centre, nothing to defend it. Well, pieces to defend it, but it wants to be behind the pawns, which are now pushed. Yeah, so bishop takes on e5 and f takes e5. Interestingly enough, d takes e5 is better because once you can take back with you can now take back with the knight, but then you do lose the pawn, which is a little bit of a shame. It's now 0.negative 0.5 ish, depending on what would have been would be played. Yeah, so f takes e5 and knight d5. Yeah, it's quite a nice move, attacking my knight, which can be quite good. And also kind of making the centre a little bit more stable, because at the moment there's no pawns in the centre for black. h4, yeah, just pushing. Knight c6, developing a knight towards the centre. Bishop g2, wanting to get the strong bishop on the long diagonal. Very simple idea. Yeah, but probably I missed something. Queen b6. And now this bishop's kind of stuck behind the pawn, because otherwise, if you move the bishop, let's say to, let's give a random move, let's say bishop to d2, queen would take b2, and your rook would be under attack. And if you move the rook, then yeah, it's not the best idea for black to play, white to play, and to move the bishop. So now this bishop stuck behind, and that's subsequently leading to the rook being stuck also. So it's quite a nice position for black, because now all the pieces are out, or nearly all the pieces are out. This bishop can quite easily come out, and then rook can come to the centre. Very strong development. Whereas white's king stuck in the centre at the moment. We can see later on why that becomes bad. Now we have knight takes d5, e takes d5, and the losing move of the game, bishop takes d5. And this completely lost me the game. I can probably see why. As what was played in the game, queen a5 check, attacking the king and attacking the bishop. And there's no way I can defend both. So bishop to d2 and queen takes on d5. Now going back to bishop to takes d5, the best move here is actually to castle kingside. Surprisingly, actually, yeah, because you'd expect this diagonal to be quite weak, because the queen's on it. And yeah, I mean, if black was clever enough, not clever enough, but if black was ambitious enough, they could go for a sacrifice there, or they could just push on the king side, get the rook out, and have a good position. But then, yeah, let's say this is played knight takes e5. You can't actually take back because the pawn's pinned to the king, which is quite nice. So g5 could be played because the pawn's under attack twice now. So you don't want it to be taken. And knight g6, attacking the pawn. h5, knight h4, bishop h1. Basically, this is what the computer would have played if it was in my situation. Get knight f5, rook at f2, and yeah, basically after this, you get a really strong battery on the e file, and also be really aggressive. Now this pawn can quite easily be taken if it isn't defended properly. Yeah, so that's probably what the computer would have played, and in this position, even though it's played in the best move, it's still -2. Once I played from this position is -2. This position is -9. So yeah, very, very bad position. Let's continue on from where we left off. And after queen takes queen takes d5, rook f1. Yeah, I could have also short castled here. It's quite dangerous to do so because that would leave my king in the open. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep my king behind my pieces, since I'm now bishop down. Because yeah, actually I'm knight down, but it's the same value. 3 pawns down in material. Yeah, so now my F pawns, my D pawn's hanging. So yeah, queen takes, it makes sense. And bishop to c3, attacking the queen. Kind of, I don't know if it was a mistake or not. I mean, it wasn't the worst move I could have played. It allows black to trade off pieces, and if black trades off all the pieces, it would be a winning endgame for black. There would be a knight up. So they would win the endgame. A knight versus pawns is... knight and pawns versus pawns is always going to win. Mostly, not always, but it's a very high likely chance of them winning. If things are traded off. So after rook takes d1, this pawn's hanging. So yeah, bishop takes g4. Now the position's falling apart. -7 actually. So it's actually slightly worse than previously for black, but it's also slightly better. Computer doesn't like it for some reason, but yeah, looks like black's going to win anyway. Pretty much it just says game over. I could have just resigned, but I didn't. Rook d2. Rook d6 is better here, just because it's more aggressive, I think. It allows you to be... allows you to... What does it allow you to do? Yeah, you can then possibly do rook d7. You can attack... You can have this nice discovered attack on the rook if you play something like this. You have to be careful of the knight though. It's quite a powerful knight. Yeah, but it's very, very strong. I think the computer would recommend in this situation something like taking the knight, just because you showed lower material. The computer says you want to be even lower. No, it's because this knight's actually quite strong compared to your rook. Even though your rook's actually in the enemy territory, it's still you're still just going to lose. Yeah. So what was played, and then rook e8, wanting to attack the pawn. Now it's under attack twice. And defended once. So I play rook f2. Of course, losing the pawn straight away. h5 apparently is better here, because after bishop takes h5, I can then play king f2. And yeah, this is giving me some kind of saving chances, kind of. Very, very difficult to see, but now the king's more active. I think very, very difficult situation here. Yeah, but just blundering another piece, another pawn. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes, e5. Check. King f1. Oh, and here it comes. Rook f5. Basically, this is I believe it's not the forced move, but if I would have done anything else, I would have lost a bishop for a rook for a bishop, and then I would be down the whole rook basically. So king f1 and rook f5, now just trading off pieces on f5 and b4. Now you can definitely see it's losing. Now I'm down 5 pieces of material, which is quite b5 is played. Just closing off the position. Rook c8 is better in this position because you want to just attack the king now. a4 and then bishop e6, basically not allowing any attack on the bishop, defending some of these pawns, and just wanting to come down and check the king. What was played is b5 and a3. Yeah, because I can't go a4 because I get taken. Very, very, very simple. h6 is played, wanting to stop any back rank mates, and also kind of stopping h5, kind of. Because after h5, h6, then taking back would give a weak pawn structure. King f2, wanting to now push the king. Bishop e6 now played. Rook d6, attacking the bishop, attacking this pawn. Both are defended, so it's not a good attack. a5. Now a5 looks kind of bizarre. It's -8, so now black's definitely winning. It looks like white now loses a pawn, because let's suppose that white takes. Then the rook can take. This pawn is now hanging, so you now have to go back and protect it. And then yeah, something like bishop to f5, bishop to c4, or just pushing pawns on the king side, or having some attack on the king. Yeah, basically it's you can't really describe how much it's losing. I play rook to d6, wanting to attack this pawn. It's not defended. I was expecting move something like bishop to d7, bishop to c4, something like that to defend the pawn. Nope, it takes and takes on b4, rook a2 check. And I missed this intermediate move. I thought, yeah, I just didn't see it really. And now the rook can come back and protect the pawn. But first the bishop has to do it. Rook could have gone here as well. That was also a possible move. But this move's more active. Basically now it's defending the pawn. And then after bishop to c6, now both pieces defended, this rook's now stuck behind a bishop. It doesn't want to be stuck behind the bishop. I play rook b8 check. However, since my opponent had already played h6, you can hide behind h7, king h7, and rook b7. Just attacking the bishop, attacking this pawn. I expected something like bishop to e6, because it's defending the pawn, defending the bishop. However, that would have lost the pawn, so that wouldn't have been played. Also, possibly something like bishop to e8 does defend the pawn, and this pawn, but then maybe rook b8. I don't know. Looks quite bad, but yeah. What was played is rook d2, defending the bishop, and against the bishop defending the pawn. Rook's defending the bishop. I can't do anything. h5, wanting to block the escape route of the king. Yeah, very simple. Bishop to c6, and it loses the pawn, but it's because rook takes f7, negative 7.6. However, it's still lost because of rook to d4. And basically, it's attacking the pawn. I can't do anything except from possibly rook to f4, just trading off rooks on f4, and wanting to go for a losing endgame, down a bishop and a pawn. And then g6 is played, and I kind of forgot about the move because after h takes g6 and king takes g6, yeah, this pawn can promote if it's not stopped, so I have to stop it. King g4, king e5 is actually better here. Just losing because now it's mate in 14, I think. Is mate in 14 yet? According to Peter, mate in 14. So there's no way you can win here. I mean, I probably should have resigned at this point, but this is the line that the computer says: h5, king g6, so on. Just losing the pawn and just promoting because you can't stop it, and then you would win. If you want to stop and find a mate in 7, you can. I'm not going to show it because yeah, it's very simple. Queen mate. Yeah, but what was played is king g4, and this is a mistake, I would say. Just because of h5 check. I know I have to kind of... if I go here, then the pawn is just going to go down and promote. I can't stop it then. Yeah, it just looked really dangerous. So I play king h4, and my opponent plays king f5, and now this is now winning definitely. Bishop a8 is recommended. Why? No, probably because it's safe. I think. I mean, it's not a Zugzwang or anything, but it's the only move that protects the pawn while also keeping the king active. I think. Because I was expecting something like this. But yeah, I don't know. This endgame is just winning for black. Yeah, so this is what the computer recommends. This is just losing. This pawn can now probably promote at some point, or this pawn is going to be taken. The pawn on p4. So yeah, but king f5 is now played, and king takes h5. Yeah, I mean, it does stop the pawn promoting, but yeah, now the king can just walk to the other side of the board, and I can't stop it. King a5, king d4, king d4, king f4, king c4, king e3, king takes b4, king d2, king b3, and king c1, and I resign. Or I lose in time, I don't remember, but it's definitely a losing position. You can't win this. It's mate in 12. But I think I resigned here. I'm fairly certain. Let me check. I resigned. Yeah, fairly certain I resigned. Yeah, so after this move, after I resign, it is actually mate in 12. I'll show you the mate in 12. It's king c3, king d1, and you don't want to let the king. You don't really want to let the king as the attack rank, but if you do, it's not really doesn't really matter. b4, king e2, b3, king e3, b2. The king wants to escape, but it doesn't allow because it wants to escape, but you don't really allow it. King f4, king b1, and you make a queen. Promote to a queen. King g5, and you just block the king and the pawn. Very simple mating strategy. Yeah, bishop e8, king at g7, queen g6 check, and king h8, and yeah, you've lost. There's nothing you can do. The reason why queen g1 is played is because you don't want to stalemate, because now the king does not have anywhere to move. And let's now the only possible move now is king h7, bishop f7, and wherever the king goes, if king h8, then you have queen g8 checkmate, and if king to h6, you have queen to g6 checkmate. So this is just lost. So yeah, I think the most important feedback from this one is not to blunder pieces. Yeah, because after this taking, I took a pawn. But yeah, this is I blunder a pawn. I blunder a bishop. I blunder a pawn. I blunder another pawn. I blunder another pawn. So yeah, it's very difficult to. What's actually interesting here is this is -7, so this is -9, but I'm now only 2 pawns down. It's very interesting. Yeah, but then I lose another bishop. Yeah, so after losing bishop and 2 pawns, yeah, it's very difficult to come back from that. Opening wasn't too bad, I didn't think. It's not an opening I'm familiar with, but I do need to learn the Alapin, definitely. But yeah, I don't think it was too bad. I think just the mistake is opening the king too early. That mistake e5 is definitely a bad mistake. But otherwise, I think it was a decent game. Well, of course I lost. Yeah, this is actually still equal. Yeah, I think once around about this time, it made a couple of mistakes, taking with the wrong pawn. Yeah, and just pushing the pawn, just opening the king really, and just not really paying attention to what was being taken, losing pieces. And now, yeah, this is. I shouldn't have let my opponent trade. I probably should have resigned earlier, actually. But yeah, I'm 1300, 1200. I'm not going to resign too early. But I will resign once it's completely definite that I haven't completed. I've completely lost. Yeah, this is also kind of a mistake. This is resignable. This is definitely resignable. I mean, I probably, yeah. I mean, after that loss, I think it just went to. This one to the. Yeah, I've got the word. Yeah, but it just went to the closer. Yeah, not the best game. Not my best game. Not my worst game. I've had worse. As I've shown you already. My first game. But that was a really decent game, I think. Thanks for you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. This was a little bit shorter than usual because I didn't give you many variations. I did do quite a lot though. But yeah, I might start with a nice, not opening course, but some openings that I like playing or that I can recommend. Namely, mostly the Italian. I quite like the Italian. So I might show that in a nice new video that's not related to chess analysis, more related to how to play certain variations of the Italian, or some of my other variations. Some of my other good spots are. I'm not. I don't. What else do I play quite regularly? I'm not that good with the Scotch. Roy Lopez. I can do the Roy Lopez quite. I know a couple of lines there. Queen's Indian, King's Indian. I know the main ideas there. Gambits like King's Gambit, Queen's Gambit. Actually, yeah. There's also a couple of openings I want to try out. Like the Elephant's Gambit and the Latvian Gambit. I want to try those out in a game at some point. I know they're considered quite bad, but I want to just see if I know if I can understand the idea behind them, because they look really interesting. I'll let you take a look at them at some point. But yeah, I do want to try those out at some point. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little analysis of this game. I'm actually going to upload another 1 or 2 videos today, focusing on some other games I played. And actually, next week is the final of this season. So after next week, you'll get a last video of the season. I will then go back and record some some previous seasons as well, like my first game. That was season 1. I'm now in season 4, so very good, very good, very good. Thanks for watching, guys, though. Have a nice day. Subscribe, have a like. I don't know what else you do. Play small chess. Recommend me what I can improve on. That would definitely be good. And bye.